The 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
Covered by Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is universal.
On 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it.
This is the Sports Concepts and Rationalizations. You want to? We call it the 10-minute drill. And at the end of the 10-minute drill, we'll hand out a prize pack. And the prize pack includes what there, Beefy?
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby.
Today's
New
prize
baby.
pack will feature a new baby. We're going to send one lucky Guggen with a pair of tickets to the U.S. Women's National Soccer Team game against Costa Rica.
Very good.
At TIAA Bank Field this Sunday at 8. Plus, we'll throw in lunch or dinner for 2 at Chick-fil-A, which we enjoyed very much yesterday.
And you thought there was no football at the bank this Sunday. Of course there is. The U.S. women's team will be here. Jeff, the NBA and its schedule makers were banking on two things this year. They're banking on Zion Williamson playing for the Pels and Golden State being Golden State. And, Steph Curry's broken hand. The Warriors are in the tank. They may be a lottery pick. They're that bad. And Zion's out. And the Pelicans are on ESPN, TNT, or NBA TV in all but 8 of their first 19 games. So ratings not so great, including the opener against Toronto. 24% drop from last year's opener between Philadelphia and Boston when you got NOLA and Toronto. So might be time to reassess the Warriors' first national broadcast on October 24th against the Clippers. Averaged 2.26 million. That was down compared to the window last year. But last year was LeBron's debut with the Lake Show. So Warriors and Pelicans right now killing the NBA.
Yeah, I really question what kind of ratings outside of the team's actual markets the NBA gets this time of year.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I understand that argument if it's late in the year when you're kind of getting into the playoff mode. But, I mean, I don't really – I'll watch the Hawks. I'll watch my team this time of year. I don't have a whole lot of interest. You know, the season open with LeBron. I'll still watch the Lakers some. I'll watch a national game, on a Friday night or, Sunday afternoon when there's not a whole lot going on. But, man, right now, still sucked in the middle of the football vortex. Mm-hmm. I don't have a lot of, urgency or desire to check out the Pelicans or anyone else. But to your point, if Zion was there, you would.
Sure.
Right, you'd at least watch some.
He'd be appointment TV.
But nobody's going 48 minutes on NBA right now unless it's your own team you're watching.
Right.
Or it's background. I had, the Magic on the other night as background as I was, doing something. So there's that. Hey.
Yes.
What do you make of this latest round of rumors in this case concerning the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles and a move to London? I can't make up my mind, Hick. For a while I think it's just a formality. London's going there, and then I think of all of, the hardships that are going to go along with having a team there full time, and if the union itself is even going to allow it.
Well,
who wants to? I mean, you're from
stunning,
Alabama. You want to live in London?
It's stunning to me. Before we get into the London thing. It's stunning to me how a multi-billion-dollar industry could make so many bad decisions. And Bill Plaschke, who is, to me, kind of Mr. L.A. sports right now, as far as, right? I mean, do you know anyone else? Who would you think of in Los Angeles sports besides our friend Ping, who has his finger on the pulse of what's happening in Los Angeles, California? Bill Plaschke is sort of the columnist for the Los Angeles Times. And he did a column. He went to the game the other day. And he said the punchline is back. The interlopers own the joint. The Chargers show they belong somewhere, anywhere, not here. The Chargers are an actual contending caliber football team that deserves to play in a place that appreciates them. That place is not Los Angeles, as the Green Bay Packer fans just was a crowd that almost completely cheesehead, go Pack, go. And the Chargers won the game. When the Chargers scored their first touchdown late in the third quarter, they actually silenced the crowd. When is the last time you've seen a home team do that anywhere but here? Anywhere but here. For the sake of the team, for the sake of the league, that is where the Chargers need to eventually be. They have endured 3 seasons of this nonsense. They have not captured the L.A. audience. Every home game feels like a road game, overrun with folks from Green Bay, Pittsburgh, Philly, Denver, and, of course, Oakland. Keenan Allen said it is what it is at this point. It's an away game every week.
I mean, their last 2 home games before this one were Pittsburgh and Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been flooded.
He said, but Plaschke said, there is one little tiny section in the corner of the end zone that screams, "Let's go Chargers." He says, bless those fans. They are the definition of diehards. One Charger said they succeeded Sunday because they overcome the annoyance. It's such a pain in the butt. Us against the world, you bet. Anyway, his point is, look, moving into the new stadium is not going to fix things. They're going to play in front of empty seats there. Unlike the Rams, whose arrival here was sold as a homecoming, the Chargers showed up as home wreckers, and despite their best efforts, they've been unable to change that narrative. They've lost the San Diego fan. They grossly overestimated their number of LA fans, and they are truly a team without a cheering section. Some folks initially said if they win, it'll work. Well, it hasn't. Last year, they won a playoff game and were 60 minutes from reaching the AFC title game, knocked out by New England. The buzz didn't make it to Monday morning. So his point is go someplace else. And he even said at the end, he wrapped it up with, here's guessing NFL owners will give the Chargers a couple of years in SoFi Stadium if they don't find their fans. And at this point, there's no reason to believe they will. Here's guessing the league will push the Spanos family to either move the team or sell it. They could ship it to London. They could drive it to the Bay Area. They could sell it to someone in, say, San Diego, anywhere but here. Now, with that said, with that as the backdrop, then out comes one of the reporters out there saying, look, the league's going to look into this London thing with the Chargers.
I have to think the London thing is going to be a shared income deal.
I can't imagine.
Why would you want to send some other to get all the money?
Yeah,
I
can't imagine it's viable to do. We've talked about this concerning the Jags. I'm just glad it's not the Jags.
I was going to say.
I wonder what Shad Khan is thinking, though, is the one thing that came to my mind when I heard the Chargers and London connected, and would he be okay with that?
I was going to say this. Doesn't mean that you think it's going to happen or that you constantly worry or that you don't trust Shad Khan and Mark Lamping and what they say. But I think almost all of us, way back there in the very back of your brain,
yes,
whenever it comes up that a team will be moving to London, there's a little nervousness. We're the team that showed the most commitment to London so far. So that doesn't mean that you are accusing anyone of being disingenuous, but you can't help but have a little bit of that nervousness about your team, especially on the heels of the passion comment from Shad Khan a couple of days ago.
Well, I think that's laying groundwork for another home game going to London, and most of us thought that was going to happen, and then it got tabled, and it's certainly back on the table, and it's especially back on the table with the new CBA, and if they go to 17-3. It just depends on where you're at. Listen, for the viability of the franchise, it is what it is. I don't want them to take another home game away from the fans. I mean, these guys, I hate that. But, if that's what they do, I'd rather, we'd rather have 6 than, none. So
well, when I really think about it, what sense does it make for the Jags if Shad owned that stadium?
Yeah.
It would make sense for the Jags to play one home, one away. What sense does it make for the Jags to play one away over there? Just throw a bone to the league?
Right.
Because you're not making any money off of that.
No, it would be 2 home. Let's be clear. That's coming. And
which, by the way, the fan base is going to revolt against.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
Oh, they're not going to be happy. You could Beef's on social media. He said the chatter this weekend just over the Khan comments were not positive.
Well, outrage.
Then it kind of sets the stage, though, for a manufactured, breach between the fan base and the ownership. I mean, that's just there's a lot of
it'll make it tougher.
Yeah, there's some dominoes that fall if Shad and again, this is sticking with me, and I wish or hope that Shad Khan recognizes and realizes this.
Mm-hmm.
The Jaguars have had one home playoff game, Dan, in 20 years.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
You can't expect shoulder-to-shoulder, unbridled enthusiasm when it comes to support for a team that has no chance of winning the Super Bowl. Teams have to give their fan base at least the outside chance that they can win the Super Bowl. When you're in the playoffs, you have that outside chance.
Sure.
That's why when the Bills came, even though it was an ugly game and the Bills aren't a sexy team, the place was packed because for the first time in 20 years, you had a home game with a team that could maybe win the Super Bowl.
Right.
And so, again, that passion, those full seats will be there if the Jags can recreate like 96-99. And until they do, not just Jacksonville, but the changing landscape of media and how we consume sports as a society is going to make, game day attendance a tough sell anywhere. When Tom Brady leaves the Patriots, Hick, and they,
Right.
and,
I understand.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah.
And I'm looking at home attendance, and I immediately call BS on some of these things. But I know this. We were here in 2017, and I said this. I told this to Shad Khan when he bought the team. I said the city was ready to erupt with Jaguar passion if you start winning games. And they had 1 year, and the city, I thought, erupted with Jaguar passion. Those 3 weeks in the postseason, now we were on the road for 2 of them, was as fun as it's been around here in 20 years.
And early here, the Patriots game, the second game of the year last year, was packed and exciting. Correct. And you played good football.
Right. And so, but I'm looking at 2017 attendance, and I like to look at percentage. Green Bay was 106% full. You know who the number 2 team was in 2017 according to ESPN's attendance figures? And this is why I say there's no way. The Miami Dolphins. What am I looking at here? 103% full. No, they weren't.
Maybe that's just sold?
I don't believe that either. So I don't know where they get these numbers. But anyway, that year, by the way, Jacksonville was 95.6% full, which is pretty good.
Here's another thing at some point, too. I don't think that Hardee's expects to have McDonald's revenue.
Right.
But every Hardee's on the corner is not threatening to leave if they can't get McDonald's, or Hardee's isn't moving to Berlin.
I don't remember him threatening to leave.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I don't rephrase.
Okay, not threatening to leave.
Yeah.
There is an ever-expanding balloon of but if.
Yeah.
Over every state of the franchise, it gets imposed a little bit more that they have to be more competitive and local revenue generated for the long-term health of the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And do we not also understand that we are in Jacksonville, Florida, a TV market about 50th in size, and that you are going to be limited in your wasn't that somewhat assumed when you bought this investment?
Yeah.
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 Hey, by the way, let's get more optimistic. I've suddenly gotten optimistic about the second half of the Jaguar season.
Oh, good. You and Don Anthony Baselli will join us at 8 o'clock. Who predicted 7 straight wins?
Did he? Well, I don't know if I'd be that optimistic. But I've stumbled upon a mathematic formula. They say math and science is just that. It's science. It's not open to opinion, interpretation. Patterns repeat themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So let me get scientific on you. The Jaguars right now are 4-5, Dan, and there's no middle ground here.
Okay.
Against teams with a below 500 record, they're 4-0.
Okay.
And against teams with above 500 record, they're 0-5.
Oh, dear.
And if you look at the schedule and what's remaining, they will play 4 teams that right now are below 500.
That's 8.
They'll play 2 games against teams above 500.
Okay.
And, by the way, it's the same team, the Colts, which history says the Jags have a good chance of winning one of those 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll play their last and 7th game against a team that's dead even 500, the Oakland Raiders.
Wow.
So I've got us at 8 guaranteed, 9 if you beat the Raiders, and 10 if you can add 1 of 2 against the Colts.
Well,
that's the math. That's what the math says, Dan.
I will never.
I don't know if your football intellect will agree, but the math formula says that's what's going to happen.
I will never root against the Jaguars, but that would be a very easy dime bet, and I'll let that go. Okay, so let's do caller number 3, Beef. Right now it's 641-1010.
Let's get it.
And what are we going to give?
Again, caller number 3 right now at 641-1010 is going to take home a pair of tickets to Sunday's United States Women's National Soccer Team match against Costa Rica at TIAA Bank Field this Sunday at 8, and they'll take home lunch or dinner for 2 at Chick-fil-A.